My mom confiscated my phone, so I called the police. I had to stop someone from abusing my 6-year-old sister. Unfortunately, it was my mother. I knew my mom hated my little sister Lily way before I had proof. You could just feel it. The whole house got colder whenever Lily walked into a room. The first time I saw the bruise, it was shaped like fingerprints. Lily was 6. She still believed in fairies and liked digging tunnels in the backyard. She was sitting on her bedroom floor brushing her doll's hair when her sleeve slid up and I saw faint purple marks on her upper arm. I asked her what happened and she said she fell, but she wouldn't look at me when she said it. She just kept brushing the doll's hair like if she stopped something bad would happen. I felt the air in the room change and looked up. My mom was standing in the doorway with that fake sweet smile she put on when she wanted to look like a good mother. She said Lily was clumsy and had been throwing a tantrum earlier. She said some kids hurt themselves for attention. She said it all calm and gentle like she was some kind of expert. My dad was downstairs in his chair, pretending to read, which was basically how he dealt with everything. He was the kind of quiet that meant he gave up on standing up to my mom a long time ago. At dinner that night, my mom cut Lily's food into tiny pieces she didn't need and told her to chew carefully because accidents happen when little girls aren't careful. Lily's hands were shaking as she picked up her fork. I tried to make eye contact with my dad, but he just kept staring at his plate. After dinner, I followed my mom into the kitchen and told her the bruise didn't look like a fall. She turned around slowly and wiped her hands on a towel. She didn't get mad. She just tilted her head and said I was always so dramatic. She said Lily had been acting out and sometimes needed firm guidance. Then she asked if I thought I knew better than a parent. The way she said parent felt like a threat. Later that week, Lily's favorite music box disappeared. She cried for hours because it belonged to her real mom who died before Lily was old enough to remember her. Lily and I have the same dad, but different moms. The next day, my mom found the music box smashed to pieces in Lily's closet and showed it to my dad like she was presenting evidence in court. She said she heard crashing and found Lily destroying it in a rage. Lily shook her head so hard her braids were flying. She said she never touched it. My mom pulled out a photo she had taken of the broken pieces arranged perfectly on the closet floor. It looked staged, way too neat. My dad just sighed and said maybe Lily needed counseling. He would have agreed with whatever my mom said. I felt something twist inside me. Then things got worse, but quietly. My mom started writing in a leather notebook she kept in the kitchen drawer. She was recording dates and times and descriptions of stuff Lily supposedly did. She wrote that Lily screamed swear words at her, that Lily threatened her, that Lily stood over her while she slept and creeped her out. I know this because I read it one afternoon when she left the room. I flipped through pages of complete lies written up to look like real concerns. I heard her coming back and shoved it back just in time. She stood in the doorway and stared at me for a few seconds like she knew what I did but liked the tension of not saying it. After that, she started isolating Lily. Timeouts lasted for hours. Toys started disappearing one by one. She would whisper through Lily's bedroom door at night, telling her that kids who can't behave get sent to places where nobody visits them. She said orphanages still exist for bad little girls. I heard her doing this every night for weeks. Lily cried herself to sleep most nights and started wetting the bed again. My mom called it a regression. She set up a meeting with Lily's school counselor and told her she was worried about violent drawings. The drawing was a crayon picture of a cloud over a stick figure. My mom described it as a sign of internal chaos. The counselor nodded like she believed every word. I wanted to scream. Then came the stairs. I heard the thud before I heard Lily cry. She was at the bottom of the stairs holding her elbow with her eyes wide open in shock. My mom was halfway down the steps out of breath saying she had warned Lily not to run, but Lily had been playing quietly in her room seconds before. I know because I was with her. My mom's voice shook perfectly as she told my dad she was scared for Lily's safety. She suggested putting up cameras for documentation. The cameras went up in the common areas but never in her own room. Lily got quieter after that. She flinched when doors opened. She started saying sorry for things before they even happened. One night, my mom ran into the living room saying Lily had been standing over her bed in the dark trying to gouge her eye out. Lily was sobbing, saying she got scared of thunder and was looking for me. I asked Lily about it and she didn't even understand what I was asking, which meant my mom made the whole thing up. But the stories kept getting crazier. My mom started throwing around words like behavioral instability and early signs of psychotic tendencies. My dad would just rub his forehead and clean his glasses and say he didn't know what to think. The last straw before everything changed was when my mom found a broken photo frame under Lily's pillow and a drawing in red marker that she said looked violent. I had seen that drawing before. It had been in the trash 2 days earlier. My mom held it up like a lawyer showing a weapon to a jury. She said she was afraid of what Lily might become. Like Lily was some kind of serial killer living in our house. That night, I finally understood what was happening. This wasn't random cruelty. It was a plan. She was building a case piece by piece, making everyone believe Lily was dangerous so she could eventually get rid of her. I would ask my mom why she reacted so extreme to everything Lily did and remind her she was just a little girl. My mom would say, that's exactly what she wants you to think. You're an idiot if you believe that lying, manipulative little brat. She's out to get me. Nothing I said changed her mind. I couldn't sleep most nights. I kept waiting for the next thing to happen, and I realized that if I kept reacting emotionally, my mom would keep winning. So I started planning. I memorized her routines. I figured out when she wrote in the notebook. I timed her showers. I learned the blind spots of the cameras she put up. I started recording on my phone when she whispered threats through Lily's door at night. I took photos of the notebook pages when she left it out. I even became friends with one of her church friends and listened carefully to how my mom presented herself to the outside world. That's when I realized her biggest weakness. It wasn't my dad, it was her reputation. She lived for people's admiration. She needed to be seen as the perfect, caring stepmother who sacrificed everything for her family. It was all fake. If I could destroy that image in front of the people whose opinions she cared about most, she would fall apart. So I stopped arguing with her, stopped defending Lily out loud. I became quiet and agreeable and harmless. I let her think the isolation was working, and that I had given up. Meanwhile, I was collecting everything. Audio of her admitting Lily reminded her of another woman she wanted gone. Video of her planting the red marker drawing under Lily's pillow. Photos of the staged damage before she pretended to discover it. Copies of emails she sent to the school counselor making everything up. I built a whole timeline showing how she escalated and fabricated everything. I backed up every single file to a private cloud account I made at school and copied the most important clips onto a flash drive that I hid in my cardigan pocket. I also had a small camera hidden in the hallway vent that uploaded automatically. My phone had the originals, but the evidence existed in 3 different places. That mattered more than I knew. Then I waited for the right moment. Every spring, my mom hosted a big charity dinner at our house. It was her favorite night of the year. Church leaders, my dad's coworkers, important friends, the people whose approval meant everything to her. I decided that was the night. Confronting her in private never worked, so I was going to take her apart in front of everyone. The night of the dinner, the house smelled like rosemary chicken, and everything was glowing with warm light. My mom floated around the house adjusting centerpieces and practicing her smile in the microwave reflection. She wore a light blue dress that made her look soft and sweet. She kissed my dad on the cheek in front of the first guests like everything was perfect. Lily had been sent upstairs with instructions to stay quiet and not embarrass anyone. I told her I would come get her when it was time. She nodded like she was used to being invisible. About an hour before the guests arrived, my mom walked into my room without knocking. I was sitting on my bed going over my plan one more time. She stood there staring at me with that look she got when she could sense something was off. She held out her hand. "Give me your phone," she said. I felt my stomach drop. "Why?" I asked. "Because you've been glued to it for weeks and I don't like it. You don't need it tonight. This is a family event, not a screen time event." She said it with that calm, sweet voice she used when there was no room to argue. I could tell she didn't know exactly what I had, but she could feel something shifting and she wanted to cut it off. I handed it over because fighting her on it would have made her suspicious. She walked out and I heard her lock it in the drawer of her bedside table. She thought she had just taken away my power. She had no idea everything was already backed up. I sat there for a second and my heart was racing, but then I felt something settle. She had just made a mistake. She took my phone on the night I needed it least, because the flash drive was already in my pocket and the cloud account was accessible from any device in the house. But she didn't know that. The dining room filled up with laughter and clinking glasses. Church women told my mom how poised she was. My dad's coworkers praised her strength. I watched her glow under all the praise and felt the weight of what I was about to do. She started her yearly speech about gratitude and family and overcoming challenges. She put her hand on her heart and thanked everyone for supporting her through the difficult season of raising a child with emotional problems. My throat tightened. I stood up. My chair scraped loud against the floor. Every single head turned to me. My mom's smile flickered for half a second before she caught it. She asked if I wanted to say something nice about the community. I said I wanted to talk about the truth. My voice shook at first, but then it steadied. I said Lily was not emotionally unstable. I said she was being framed. Confused looks went around the room. My mom laughed lightly and said I was just protective and that she had raised me to be that way. I walked over to the family laptop sitting on the side table, logged into my cloud account, and connected it to the TV above the fireplace. My hands felt like ice, but I didn't stop. The first clip played. Audio of my mom whispering through Lily's door that bad girls get sent to orphanages and nobody misses them. The room went dead silent. My mom's face went white, but she tried to cut in saying it was taken out of context. I played the second clip. Video of her putting the red marker drawing under Lily's pillow when she thought nobody was watching. People gasped. Some laughed nervously at first, not sure if it was a joke. Then they went pale. My dad stood up staring at the screen and tried to say something. I ignored him and kept going. I showed photos of the notebook pages describing things that never happened with timestamps proving Lily was with me when those things supposedly took place. I showed the emails she sent to the counselor making everything up. Then the recording of my mom admitting Lily reminded her of something she wanted erased played. Her own voice filled the room saying, "This little brat reminds me of everything I hate and want erased from my memory forever." Even she covered her mouth when that one played. My mom started falling apart piece by piece. She tried to grab the laptop, but one of the church elders gently stopped her hand and said, "The truth shall set you free, my child." Someone else said this needed to be heard. My heart was pounding so loud I thought everyone could hear it, but I kept talking. I explained the whole pattern. The staging, the escalation, the plan to call Child Protective Services and play the victim. I said Lily had been living in fear in her own home, crying herself to sleep every night. I said the instability in this house didn't come from a 6-year-old. It was organized by my mother. The room was completely silent. My mom's breathing got heavy. She started pacing and said I was delusional and dramatic, but the evidence kept playing. The last clip was the one I saved for the end. Her voice late at night in the kitchen, calm and cold, saying, "I'll make sure this little brat disappears one way or another." Those words just hung in the air. My dad sank into his chair because everyone was now glaring at him too. They knew he heard all of this and did nothing. He stared at the ground and looked smaller than I had ever seen him. The women who used to praise my mom were now staring at her with pure horror. Some people were clenching their fists like they wanted to hit her. The mask wasn't cracked. It was gone. She started screaming, calling me a traitor, saying I invaded her privacy, saying I ruined everything she spent her life building. Her voice kept getting louder and louder until the polished act completely disappeared and all that was left was raw and ugly. She called Lily a mistake, a stain, an evil thing. She said it in front of everyone. Then she lunged at the laptop and smashed it shut. She spun around and screamed at me, "Where is your phone? How did you do this?" I said nothing. She ran upstairs and came back holding my phone in her hand, shaking it at me. "This is mine now. All of this is gone. I'm deleting everything." She was frantic, unlocking it, swiping through apps, deleting files as fast as she could. She thought she was erasing the evidence. She didn't know about the cloud. She didn't know about the flash drive in my pocket. She didn't know about the camera in the vent. But what she did right then in front of 30 witnesses was destroy evidence in real time while screaming threats at a minor. One of the church elders stood up and said he was calling the police. My mom froze. She looked around the room and realized what she had just done. I looked at her calmly and said, "You took my phone so I wouldn't be able to call for help, so someone else is going to do it for me." Another guest was already dialing. My mom tried to say it was a family matter, but a woman from church shook her head and said, "Not anymore, it isn't." My mom's anger turned to panic. She grabbed her purse and tried to leave, but my dad blocked the door without looking at her. He just stood there and said, "We can't run from this anymore. It's time to face what you've done." He said it like he had nothing to do with it. People called him out immediately. "You let her do it. You're just as guilty. The authority figures she had spent years impressing were now looking at her like she was a case study instead of a saint. When the police showed up, she tried to pull herself together, but her words got tangled and she kept contradicting herself. She got more and more worked up when they asked about the recordings. One of the officers asked about the phone. I told him she had confiscated it from me before the dinner and had just been caught on camera by 30 people deleting files from it. I handed him the flash drive and gave him the login to the cloud account. Everything she thought she had just destroyed was sitting right there untouched. An officer asked her to step outside. I watched from the hallway as she fell apart under direct questioning. Everything she had carefully built was collapsing on itself. Lily stood behind me holding my hand. I knelt down and told her it was over. I said she could finally go to sleep without crying. She asked if she was being sent away. I said no, not tonight, not ever. The investigation moved faster than I expected. The notebook was taken, the footage was reviewed, the phone was entered as evidence showing her deleting files in real time, which counted as tampering. Statements were taken from the guests who saw the whole meltdown. A psychological evaluation was ordered after one of the officers noticed how unstable she was getting. My mom didn't go quietly. She accused everyone of being in on it. She insisted she was the only sane person in a house of liars. But the more she fought, the more obvious it became that control was the center of her whole world, and losing it exposed something broken underneath. Within days, she was admitted to a psychiatric facility after a breakdown during questioning. The house felt empty without her, but it didn't feel cold anymore. My dad walked through the rooms like he was seeing them for the first time. He apologized without looking at me. He apologized to Lily with tears in his eyes. I didn't know what forgiveness was going to look like, but I knew we had moved past just surviving. That night, Lily crawled into my bed and fell asleep with her hand wrapped around my wrist like she was scared I might disappear. I lay there listening to the quiet and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Safe. It was fragile and new, but it was real. Downstairs, the TV was playing a muted news story about a local charity leader under investigation. I didn't need to see the name. The life she had built blew up in a single night because the truth was patient. As I stared at the ceiling, I understood something. She tried to erase a child to protect her image. Instead, she erased herself. And the phone she took from me? It ended up being the final nail. Not because of what was on it, but because 30 people watched her try to destroy it. She confiscated my phone to shut me up. All she did was give me 30 witnesses and an evidence tampering charge. And for the first time since I saw those fingerprint bruises, the house felt warm.